Hello there, viewers. Good day to you guys. Welcome back to the channel. Glad you guys are here. We are pulling out of the shop right now in a 2017 Chevrolet Silverado. It's got the 5.3 with 95,598 miles on the odometer. The customer gave me kind of a list of complaints here, and I'm trying to run through them. The primary complaint is the estimate that they got from the dealership to make a repair on the air conditioner. We're going to get around to that later. The reason for the test drive, though, is they had complained of a misfire on startup. Now, I had pulled out the scan tool and checked for a cold start misfire, and we saw two misfires in cylinder 6, and that was it on the startup. 2 is not really conclusive results for a startup event, so I'm not really going to laser focus on that misfire right now. The way the customer had described the symptoms to me almost led me to believe that he had a shifting/torque converter problem. What's up, Sheriff? Good day to you, sir. Reason being that I think that is this thing is equipped with the 6-speed 6L80 transmission in this unit. Now, the reason that has bearing to me is these transmissions had issues with the torque converter clutch, causing a nasty shudder during gear shifts, and it also had an issue with the valve bodies where the shift points were irregular and erratic, and it also had an issue of they just grenaded themselves and blew up randomly. So I want to drive it today to see if we have a torque converter shudder / valve body shifting problem, or if we actually have a misfire problem, and I'm not detecting either one of those at this time. Now, like I had stated, the primary reason for this thing being here is the climate control system. This customer was at the dealership not long ago for the AC concern, and they brought it into the shop. Well, let me back up. This truck is equipped with the 1234 YF refrigerant. That's the new refrigerant that I believe they started using in 2016 or 17, and all vehicles produced after 2021 are required to have the 1234 YF refrigerant. That is significant for a couple of reasons here. Number one, the story that the customer gave when he brought it to the dealership is that he brought the car in, gave it to the service guys, and the report was back on the car within about 45 minutes. They said the refrigerant was low, and they had added and topped off the system to do a leak check on it. Now, I find that to be particularly peculiar and odd. Reason being is 1234 YF refrigerant machines have a programming logic inside of them. This is a federal mandate kind of thing, that the machine must prove to itself that the vehicle has no large refrigerant leaks. If it does not prove to itself that there's no leaks, the machine will not install the charge in the vehicle. Now, the way that it does that is it will pull the thing down into a vacuum. It'll hold it into a vacuum for about 10, 20, I think maybe even 30 minutes on some of the machines. If the vacuum is held in the system, then the machine is pre-authorized for partial charge. So what it will do is it will install, let's say you're requesting 2 pounds, it'll install 0.4 pounds, maybe half a pound or so, 0.6 pounds maybe. It'll install a partial, a known set value, and then it will wait X amount of time. It'll then recover that partial charge and then compare the recovery weight against the installation weight. So basically, if it doesn't recover out what it put in, it'll deny a charge on that specific vehicle. And it's actually VIN number specific. You have to input the VIN into the machine in order to convince the machine to begin the process. It won't activate without a VIN. I don't know if they've changed that since the last time I used one of those machines at the dealerships, but my understanding is they're VIN registered recovery events. Anyway, I digress one more time. The reason that I find the customer's story to be peculiar is the time frame he gave me does not add up to the required time frame that would have been needed for the machine to install the charge, which tells me a couple things, or suggests to me a couple things. Either they did not actually top off the refrigerant in this to do the test, and they just said they did and then charged for it, or the customer's time frame is a little bit skewed, and what he thought was maybe an hour or so could have been 2 or 3 hours. Regardless, the time frame situation didn't add up. Now, I was unable to detect a leak with my refrigerant detection devices because the system was pretty much fully discharged by the time I got a hold of the vehicle. Now, that puts me into a weird place because I want to service this car. And realistically, being a 2017, this thing's been on the road for 8 years. That means there's a whole bunch of 8-year-old cars out there, and I have no choice but to purchase the machine to service these vehicles on. So I called up and I ordered one, and I'm not happy about it, but I don't want to turn away work either. So that being said, what we're gonna do temporarily to confirm or deny the dealership diagnostic is I'm gonna break the rules a little bit. And I'm going to do that with some bootleg adapter tools. We're actually going to charge this AC system in this truck, but I'm not going to do it with 1234YF. I'm gonna break the rules, and I'm going to temporarily use the 134A refrigerant. Okay. Now, I know you're not supposed to do that, and I know you get in trouble for it, but what I'm not doing is releasing it out into the ether. Therefore, I don't really think that I'm breaking the rules. So we're gonna try to diagnose this AC in this particular truck and then find the leak. Okay, hood. Let's get this guy opened up. Yeah, the telltale that you get on the new refrigerant style is that the connectors are going to be a little bit different than our traditional connectors. You see this one's got this big shank on it right here, and then that lip that the machine connects to is not circular, it's more like an octagon shape, like a stop sign. So that's our indicator that we have a different style refrigerant. Your normal machines will not connect to that thing right there. The other indicator that you have, if it's not faded out and gone, is going to be your placard under the hood here. That's going to tell you the refrigerant required, 1234YF plus PAG oil, and this requires 0.55 kilograms of refrigerant. So what we're going to do, we come over here. I would like to turn the system on, but I can't because there's a blower motor sitting on the floor. We were in the hole in there, up and around on that evaporator, trying to find a visual representation of a leak. We didn't see much so far, but I'm going to we're going to revisit that with this borescope in a second here to make sure. Come here, you. There we go. We're going to make sure that it is or is not leaking. So let's turn on the AC. We're powered on. Now that should have engaged the compressor, which I did not hear the compressor come on. Let's shine some light on the subject down here. You can see right there, there's our compressor, and it is not running. The clutch is not engaged on that AC compressor, okay? So we do not have any system activation here. That could be because the compressor's failed, the head unit might be failed, or the system is fully discharged and it's not authorized to actuate that compressor. So we're gonna check on that right about now. Let's get this door open here. I'm gonna have to let the AC out, but I wanna nose this thing in to get the machines hooked up. Okay, we're nosing this thing into the shop a little bit. Cassidy's bringing over the AC machine. Thank you, sir. Dave's over there working on a brake job. And it's definitely AC season around here because there's a Miata right there with the dash out of it. And I got another one outside. Needs the dash pulled out of it. And since it comes in threes and this is looking like an evaporator core, I might have to pull the dash out of this one too. Okay, so here's how we're going to make this work right here. These things are found, I think I got them on the internet from the Jungle Store or something like that. These are little adapter fittings to take this connector and convert it to this connector right here. You see the difference I was talking about with those two connector styles? The shank's different, the width is different. Yeah, it's all very different. So what I'm doing here is we're gonna get this guy connected to our high side port. Low side port's down there on that canister looking thing. See that down there? Zoom. Yeah, there's the port right there with no caps on it. Good job, dealership. They didn't even give the guy his caps back. Anyway, we are going to connect these adapters to this machine, and I'm going to pretend this is a 134A machine. Let's prove out that this system actually is fully discharged, okay? I believe it is 100% empty. Ooh, my fittings are gritty, which means somebody's been over tightening them. Yeah, if you over tighten these, it tears up the aluminum and then they get all super gritty. All right, valves are now open on this high side fitting adapter business over here. We have no pressure inside of there. That's connected to the machine. There's nothing in this unit whatsoever. That's got a leak in it somewhere for sure. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna charge this with some refrigerant, and then we're gonna use the detection devices. Thank you. We're gonna use the detection devices to try to find the leak on it, and then we're kind of gonna go from there. So let's confirm or deny if the dealership's $5,000 evaporator core is legitimate or not. So what we're gonna do is select charge on this thing. It's wanting 0.55 kilograms. I might as well just give it the full beans here. It couldn't hurt. We do need to select high side charge because kilograms, there we go, 550 kilograms, 0.550. And how do I select to, I just told it to do low side. Come on, I want high side charge. Maybe I can just hook up the high side or low side and not worry about it. Yeah, I'm being lazy. I need to just go down there and burn myself and hook this other thing up. Okay, I restarted and got that low side on there. That thing's a bear because you got to pull these coolant hoses out of the way and then make it all kind of fit together. I had to get some gloves on to do such things. Anyway, we've got that guy connected, so we're going to preliminarily install the charge into this. We're going to prove that the system works and or does not work. Then we're going to take this refrigerant detector unit right here, and it is going to sniff suspected areas by drawing in the localized air, and then the machine will detect the presence of refrigerant or not. So we're charging. I'm gonna go back inside, power up the compressor and see what it does. Okay, a few minutes later, and we have some pressures in the vehicle now. The charge is mostly complete, and looking down at our compressor, where's that guy at? Yep, we have clutch actuation, okay? So what we've established so far is now the system is able to turn on. So we had a completely empty system, it didn't run, now it's turned on. We've got cool air for sure. I had to put the blower motor back in because the compressor permission was denied by the controller because it did not detect the presence of the words of the fan motor, of the blower motor. So I had to plug in the blower motor, and now we're all back to life. So we can see we have permission for the clutch now because the pressure sensors in the system have detected pressure. If the pressure sensors in there do not see any pressure, then it will not allow the controller to turn on the compressor, because you can't run a compressor unless it's compressing something. It'll just burn itself up and die. So that's a self-protection method built into it. We're looking at the temps, or I'm sorry, the pressures. High side says 245 as per the vehicle, and it was pretty close up there at the gauge. So that's accurate, excuse me. AC signal request, yes, that's just our on-off button. If we push the button, we switch to no request, see that? Push the button again, it's thinking about it, no decision. Yes, we're on and we're allowed, compressor's on.
Dad,
yes, dear?
I'm gonna go in and go in the car, okay?
You're gonna go in the car?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have fun, see you later, give me 5. Love you, bye girls.
Bye.
Bye honey, see ya. Yep, kids are out of here. So, what we've now done now is proven that the system does function. So let's go ahead and shut her down. Pew. And we're gonna fire up the refrigerant detector. It's up there on the hood, radiator support. We're gonna turn that guy on and look for the leak next. This thing better turn on, it's got fresh batteries in it. Yep, we got green light, so we're going. So we have sensitivity settings here. We need to turn this up to the high sensitivity, I think. Yeah, high range goes for 1234 YF, low range 134A. So yeah, we can, well, we put 134 in there, so we can do low range, I believe. So let's see here, high, medium, low. It's still warming up inside. There's an element in there that has to heat up. Let's give it a second here. All right, we're live. We're beeping. Let's set our sensitivity. Low range should be yellow, right? Yep, there's low. Let's just check the other ones real quick. No, that's low range. Yellow is mid-range. There we go. That's what we want. And then high range is red. We're gonna do yellow checking. So let's check our little fittings right here. Nope. So now, watch this. I'm gonna set this thing up right here. I'm gonna disconnect the fitting, and the machine's gonna start alarming me to the presence of refrigerant. See that? That's our positive indicator of the presence of refrigerant. Now, I'm gonna try to do what the dealership did. They said that they checked this through the evaporator drain, which is that little hose right there. See that little guy? That's the drain pipe for the evaporator. So, if we have a refrigerant leak, that refrigerant is gonna present itself through that little drain hole, and we should start getting some beeps out of this. No, not yet. So what's leaking? This thing's also very sensitive to contaminants. So if you get water on there, or even dust, brake clean, anything, it'll make it set off. Nothing at that fitting. Let's just blow that fitting out real quick. Slight leakage at the fitting. That's fairly normal. That seems like a lot. Okay, calm down. You see this thing? You see this thing right here?
Sounds like an Atari game.
Doesn't it? Yeah. Let's get that bottom one disconnected. It's hot in there because this thing sits between those two coolant hoses. Let's check that fitting as well. Not the adapter fitting. We're going to check the factory one. There's our adapter. And the light. What'd I do with that light? You're headed out? Okay, that's leaking. I can see it from here. Saw bubbles in there. Yep. Okay, found 2 leaks. I always start with these guys. Let's give this a nice zoom. Yep, see that bubble? There it is. There's a bubble. There's another one. Another maybe? Yeah, I think you got, oh, it switched cameras. I think you can see. Yeah, there's another one. Okay, so that's 2 confirmed leaks thus far, but that's not what the dealership told us, so let's continue to investigate. Okay, back in the cabin on this unit, and I have the blower motor and the fan removed again. We have the sniffer plugged into that vent right there. That's one of the floor vents. And I've got the borescope going up and through the hole where the blower motor is supposed to live. Now, the borescope cable is running up and over and then down into this area right here. This is where the evaporator core is going to be located. So what we're doing is going in to take a peek at what that core looks like inside. And what I have found in here, bear with me. There's our evaporator. Here's the bottom of it. And we can see some leaves in there. And I can see over here on the left in the corner, yeah, there's some more leaves. See all that nasty stuff down at the corner down there? I suspect that's where we're gonna find our leak. What happens here is dirt and debris will accumulate in the bottom of this HVAC box right here, and it's gonna hold the condensed moisture that's supposed to be draining out through the drain hole that we looked at on the other side over there. Now, what I think's happening is that all that moisture has caused corrosion on that core, and it caused it to leak. I don't know if I can get this sniffer all the way down and around where it's supposed to be on that evaporator core. I'm gonna try it, but that's kind of a tall order in there. Let's see if I can't get it to go down into that corner. It might hit, it might not. The sniffer is not exactly the best tool for evaporators because you got to get that tip right on your suspected leak. And since it's kind of a maze of plastics in there, I don't know if we can arrange that. Here, let's take a look at the evaporator that came out of this Miata, and I'll show you guys kind of what we're talking about here. This is, I believe, the old one. That's where the temperature sensor goes. It just sticks in the deal. Yeah, here's the nasty side. Look at that. Our leak was right around here somewhere. Now you can see there was no dye on this, which means there was never any UV dye installed from the factory. It might be up here too. See some damage there. I can't really tell where it was leaking from, but this thing would not even hold a vacuum. Unlike that one, this thing had a very large leak somewhere. We could probably maybe pressurize it and find the leak, but that's just too much work, so we're not gonna do that. But I wanted to use this as an example to show you guys what they look like when all that debris doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, you can even see where some oil has been soaking into the foam right here as well. Yeah, that side looks pretty clean. That's not good. Okay, so I managed to get the probe on this meter down into the corner of that core. There's the probe. There's the corner of the core. And no, I can't really see around it. I wish I could, but I just don't think I can get in there that deep, like. But we've got that probe right where we need it. Like it's down in that corner, you guys. And I'm not getting a result off this thing. I'm reluctant to call out Evaporator on this, you guys, especially since it's a 17-hour job or something like that, and the parts are not cheap because it's GM genuine kind of only. We can get like a $400 GM one, or we can get a $55 Chinesium one, and it's 17 hours of work. I don't want to put the Chinesium one in there, but I don't want to put one in there at all if I can't prove out that the leak's not there. My trouble is I see indicators of kind of like where we would have a failed evaporator due to what we just saw in that Miata unit. But my testing protocol is not giving me any results here. And even worse, that fitting down there is still leaking. Zoom in on it here. Focus, you. Okay, well, it's not gonna focus enough to make the bubble. Here, let's just use the little dealio here and prove it one more time. It's been like 20 minutes since last time we probed that. Let's just give it one more recheck. I got half the mind to ignore what the dealership said. Yeah, see, that's a pretty substantial leak there. Okay, we're done. I've also used this thing to, you done now? I've also used this to check the compressor, and we checked all of the known areas on the condensers that also causes these leaks. Let me show you guys where those known areas reside. If we take a look right here through the front of this unit, there's our condenser right there. Do you see that little tank thing on the right? That little tank thing is the accumulator / receiver dryer. Now, let me find the connection spot. There it is. That area right there, center of the screen, that's where that accumulator tank and the core are connected. You get a thermal cycling event right there at that little weld, and it will crack, causing a leak. Now, usually when that leaks, you can see a bunch of oil that leaked out with it. I do not see any of the oil, and there's usually going to be two locations, or there is two locations for that connection to be made. There's our second location right there. See that? And I'm not seeing any oil saturation around there, so I don't think the condenser leaked. I mean, it's quite possible, but I'm not seeing the signs on it, and after probing it, we did not get a hit on the machine, so I don't think it's a condenser. The only thing I got right now is going to be that that Schrader valve core thing, that service valve down there. So when I don't know what to do, I tend to not do anything. So that's what we're going to do here. We're not going to go and just sell this guy. Oh, I need the adapter. We're not going to go run off and sell this guy a $5,000, $4,000, whatever evaporator core replacement job. Yeah, it was sensitive enough to pick up on that, wasn't it? What in the crud is this? I guess Amazon car parts require two hands to install. There. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to evacuate everything out of this system here. We're going to change these valves out. Oh, look, there could be dye in here. Yeah, look right here. That's from where I just kind of squirted. Okay, we're going to recover this business. I'm going to change these valves. We're going to charge it again. We're going to run the thing and then leak check it again. That's all we can do. Okay, so I've got the old low side Schrader valve removed out of this. We're not going to change the high side valve over there just yet because that one is specific to the refrigerant type, as we talked about earlier. But if we take a look at this guy, that right there, that's the seal that seals the refrigerant into the system. What happens is that seal starts to crush and it breaks down and it will leak the refrigerant past it, and then it'll come out through the center of the valve right here, and that's the bubbles that we saw earlier. So I threw a new one in there already, pulled it into a vacuum, and now we're recharging it. What I'm gonna do is put in an exact known amount. We're gonna write it down. Then we're gonna fire this thing up, make sure it all works and everything. We're gonna park it with a known exact charge in there. In about 24 hours, we're going to abort, host compensate. In about 24 hours, we're going to recover this all again and then compare what we know we installed versus what we know we're going to recover. And we're going to do the math on any refrigerant loss. With this valve replaced, and after that procedure, if we recover the same amount that we installed, we can then conclude that there is no leak present and that the dealership was wrong with their $4,000 something million estimate to change that evaporator core. I'm not saying that that thing's not leaking, but what I'm saying is I can't find it leaking whatsoever. Now, if we recover it and then find out that it's super duper low, we've got to start all over again and then re-look for those leaks. But like I said, we looked at the problematic spots on the condenser up front. We looked at all the places possible on the compressor, checked the valves, found 2 leaks at 2 valves. So that's definitely an indicator of a leak somewhere. No leak here at the expansion valve, and we found no refrigerant down there at the drain valve. And again, back inside, probing the actual core, also saw no leaks. So either this was a gross misdiagnosis on the dealership's part, or I just happened to find these 2 leaks that nobody else had noticed previously, and we still need to install the evaporator core. So time will have to tell on that one. So let's go ahead and get the service valves disconnected from the vehicle. Take the adapter out of there. Now, it should be known, it is a violation of the Clean Air Act to convert a 1234YF system into a 134A system because it falls under the defeating an emissions device clause of the Clean Air Act. Now, I don't know how much emissions devices are involved with this AC system, but if that's how they defined it, I'm not going to challenge a wing of the federal government over such things. However, I'm not doing that. All that I'm doing here is storing my refrigerant in this guy's car. Okay, I'm just gonna store it here for a little while. We're just gonna put it here. I don't have enough storage space in the shop, so we're just gonna use this car while it's here to store some refrigerant. We're gonna take it back, and it's not gonna break the law, but for right now, we're just using it for storage purposes. And while we're doing that, I'll be able to conduct a certain type of test to help diagnose this customer's problem. We're actually diagnosing a dealership problem, not a customer problem. So we're not breaking the law. If I converted this willingly and knowingly, and then collected money for it and then sent it out into the world and was like, here you go, this is what I've done, then sure, I could say I was probably in violation of that. But at this current point in time, all I think I'm doing is storing some refrigerant somewhere else. That's all I'm doing. So it shouldn't be okay. And no, the cross-contamination is not going to be a problem. We did not put any 1234YF inside of this system right here. Furthermore, when I recover this, we're going to put it into an extensive recovery process. It's going to be an extensive vacuuming out process. There will be no more residual 134A in this system when we fully complete the repair on this. That is not going to happen. There will be no cross-contamination whatsoever. So let's go ahead and re-recover the machine. It's going to pull all the refrigerant out of the lines, put it back inside the storage tank, and we're done with that. We know we have installed exactly 0.550 kilograms of refrigerant into this vehicle. So we're going to button up the interior for now, put that stuff kind of back together. I have the blower motor back in it. We're going to put this stuff back together, and then we'll revisit this thing at a later time. I really do not like inconclusive results, but I also don't like charging people thousands of dollars for things that they don't need. So that's not what's going to happen here. The system is cooling. Oh yeah, feels very nice and cold here. I like it. Okay, so real quick, as for their other concern, the customer stated that the tire pressure monitoring system warning indicator is illuminated. So we're going to use the steering wheel controls here. We're going to find the TPMS light, or the readings rather, of each wheel sensor. There we go. 39, 43, 39, and 2 dots. So it appears that the right rear is not reading. Let's try to relearn these real quick. Push and hold, it should put this into learn mode. Yep, so you push and hold that button, it goes into tire learning mode, and now we have to get the tool. You don't need the reprogram tool, just the pinging tool should do it. Call this the orange tool. Push the button, it activates the sensor talks to the controller, and it registers its position. So we'll put that right there, hit the button, the horn should beep, okay? You always start with the left front as well. You go left front, right rear, left rear. That one's good. Now the dash said that the right rear was inoperative, did it not? Yep, looks like it's the right rear. Okay, that sensor is not working. That guy's dead. Okay, let's check the left rear, make sure that one's still working. Now the car is gonna think that this is the right rear now, because I never pinged the actual right rear. So we're going to have to abandon learn mode. Real easy, shut it down. Ding. Fire it back up. Why do the wipers come on? A little odd. Service tire monitor system. The relearn never took, so now all of them have blanked out. But we know that the right rear is inoperative, so we're gonna order and replace the right rear. That will require use of the other tool, because we'll have to program that sensor into the vehicle. All right, guys, so we have this thing now set up in a position where we can continue to test for the suspected leak. In the meantime, I'm gonna order the proper service valves from this, and I do have a 1234YF refrigerant machine in the pipeline to be delivered. I went ahead and ordered one because I've been turning down these types of AC jobs for about 18 months now, and it was always in my head, it's like, well, I can't really justify the expense of that machine. Can't really justify the expense of the machine, but now I'm at a point where these are getting pretty common. the YF vehicles, and we're going to start to see the 134A vehicles phasing out. So I have no choice whatsoever but to upgrade the shop's capabilities and get the machine ordered, which is what I've done. So I'm not happy about it because it's going to take me like 2 years to pay off that machine or whatever, but it does open the door for doing this job properly without violating federal law, which is going to be great because I'm not interested in going to prison. So like I said, that will conclude the illegal car repair. I know that's kind of a play on words. I'm not doing anything illegal, but I'm sure somebody here's going to report me anyway to the feds, but that's fine. There's no justification or probable cause, nor do you have any proof that I actually did install the incorrect refrigerant. So it's all speculation, even if I did publish it on the internet. So that being said, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and close this one out. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about my illegal car repair in the comment section down below. And most importantly, have yourselves a great day. See you guys later in a video, in a Chevy Silverado, in a transmission.